I wouldn't say that I'm more intelligent or better, faster, or stronger than really any other man walking this earth. And my opinions and what I think is largely formed off of the information that I've gathered and the wisdom that I've acquired throughout the years of my life. And I've come to believe that men who get married, men who sign the marriage contract, men who engage with women for a long period of time and they get saddled with what's known as common law marriage, I believe that they are idiots, that they are literal fools, and that they've been deceived and tricked into acting in a way that is fully against their own best interests. And I mean, I'm not saying this in a way where I believe, like in an arrogant way that I believe this, or that I'm necessarily 100% right or wrong in holding this belief, or I'm saying this in a way where I feel like others should share my belief. I'm just saying that this is something that I have found to be true from my own observation, from the observable reality and world that I see. Now, I'll say this. Most people, I find, use any excuse, any possible way to act in a manner that is not in their own best interest. And what I mean specifically by that is if you think about people who work for like an hourly rate wage, okay? And like specifically a low hourly wage, okay? An hourly wage where the amount of money that you're bringing in is not enough from that one job to cover all of your expenses, all of your bills. Well, essentially you're acting in a way that's, not in your own best interest. A lot of people will rationalize them taking that job as, well, it's better to have a job or it's better to have some form of income than no income at all. And they rationalize this even though we live in a world where taxes are basically forced upon the working class, and the wealthy openly admit they don't pay taxes. People rationalize it by saying, oh, if I don't take this job, if I don't take whatever I can get, then I'm a drain on society. I'm useless. I'm worthless. They rationalize it in all manner of ways. They come to all manner of illogical conclusions to take a job that essentially is costing them more to keep than it is for them to make some form of profit on. And I'm saying this because I see people constantly, in other manners as well, acting in ways that are not in their own best interests. A lot of men say to themselves, I'll never be able to get a woman this beautiful. Oh, this is a freak occurrence. Like a chick that looks like this, she wants me. Well, I have no choice but to acquiesce to all her desires so that I can, get a taste, so that I can have sex with her, so I can, possibly see where this goes. And they'll say this and they'll do this knowing full well that this woman, no matter where she's from, no matter what ethnicity she is, in today's times, in our current society, she is more likely a venomous snake, a burden, a hazardous material, a hazardous substance, and more than likely has a whole host of STIs, sexually transmitted infections, than, an entire country. I mean, she's basically probably a walking petri dish. And yet, I've seen men rationalize dating a woman who could very possibly be homeless, could very possibly be psychotic, borderline schizophrenic, just because in certain lights she may be appealing sexually. People acting in their own best interest is like a rarity nowadays. if you truly think about what it is that you're seeing. It doesn't matter where you go. It truly doesn't matter what activities you choose to engage in as a man in your life, whether you're out recreationally or business. If you just take a moment to just truly observe the situations. Like, I give you an example. A friend of mine, he's a father to a woman who is a known whore, and his son, he was telling me the other day, like, one of the things that keeps him up at night is that his wife, or his ex-wife, for whatever reason, has decided to go out and have a whole slew of homosexual men as friends, and how they've been having arguments, and he's telling her that she needs to keep those people away from their son and this, that, and the other. And I totally get this man's pain. I feel the fear myself that he feels, because it is a very dangerous situation for a young man, for a young boy, to be around people of this type of mindset, this type of behavior, this type of deviant activity. It's very dangerous. It's perilous. And yet, and still, this woman engages in friendship with these men. I remember one time he was telling me about how she had a ladies' night out where her and all of her girlfriends, quote unquote girlfriends, who knows what all she's doing with them aside from just being friends, they all decided to go out. And he was telling me how she told him that they all decided to go to a gay bar because they didn't want to be hit on by men. And I just remember thinking to myself, I've heard girls say this before, but the way he was telling the story is a bit different. Because when she was telling him about it, she was talking about how all the dudes were telling all the women that they were all goddesses and that they were all the most beautiful women ever. And they were all just giving them all this attention, all this praise. And I remember thinking, like, okay, so she's telling him this to fuck with his head. And she's going a step beyond by truly going out of her way to befriend these people, these deviants, and get their phone numbers and hang out with them. And so I asked my buddy, I was like, so what's the next step with her, with these people? Is she going to, like, have them start babysitting? Like, what kind of madness is this truly? And I went a step beyond, and I asked him, I said, and you choosing this woman to engage in any activities with, like, how do you feel about it now? In hindsight, what would you have done differently? And he told me, he was like, look, man, I feel like I fucked up. I feel like I fucked up, because he was telling me how he wanted a son, that for some reason that was what he wanted. He himself chose to have a son, and his desire to have a son led him to reproduce with a woman that he met in college. And I mean, a lot of us have been to college, and college is basically one big orgy sometimes, where you just screw around with random chicks. I mean, I've swapped college stories with people before, and we talk about some of the stuff we did to chicks, and a lot of the stuff that these girls are into now, it's out of this world. But again, to truly keep it on topic, I've said all this to say, engaging with a woman and, acting in your own best interest, these things do not coincide. If you have a woman with you, I don't care how beautiful she is, ultimately, you're not acting in your own best interest, and you are not in accordance with truth, or really, I would say, with your own mind, because I believe that a man's mind, and I have no proof of this, is just my opinion, but I believe a man's mind naturally gravitates towards righteousness. It naturally gravitates towards the correct actions. And having a wife, a girlfriend, engaging with a woman nowadays it's a bad idea. Too many pitfalls, too many possibilities. There's a story called The Beauty and the Beast. And it's all about how a woman uses her beauty to tame the beast and make this beast into a man and then marry this man. Now, I'm not going to go too into detail with this story, but I believe that the story is told wrong. I believe that if true analysis of truly looking at today's society, at today's women, if you think about it, the beast, the beauty is the beast in today's society. The woman is the creature. She is the monster. She is the entity that devours, the creature that crushes, that drags men to the bottom of the ocean to die at a watery grave. And I say this and rationalize it this way because if you truly think about it, truly, what do you have to gain from being involved with a woman nowadays? Like, what do you get other than sex? And even in the act of sex, are you really gaining anything? Because that in itself is such an insane risk. Like I would say 15 seconds of pleasure that you get from a release, is it really truly worth it? Is it even truly that memorable? Because at the end of the day, she is the one that is, destroying. She's the one that's crushing. She's the one that's taking and absorbing all that we are, all that we have. And what is she giving us in return? 15 seconds of pleasure? Maybe less? Because acting in one's own best interest, I would say it goes far beyond that of simply thinking in the moment, simply acquiring a momentary high. Long-term activities that, yield high results, high positive results, are rarely pleasurable. Like with working out, doing exercise. You can run for, say, 5 minutes. Say you maintain a run for 5 minutes. But that's not going to do you as much good as maintaining that same run for 30 minutes to an hour. And the results from being able to do that are totally different. A lot of people, they take actions that truly don't benefit them, that are truly just a waste of their time and energy. And they engage with entities that are quite literally beasts and want to devour them. And they rationalize it in ways where it's like, you know what, I'll just do this, I'll just do that, and I'll just make it by, and I'll just try to keep going, and things will eventually work out. But that's not how the world works. That's not how reality works. And that's never been how truth works. I think that as men, we need to take full accountability of our actions. We need to take full responsibility for the decisions that we make. And we need to make choices that benefit us. Something to think about. Peace.